stream and it does this, I just refresh it. There we go. Now we're live.
Finally, we're live.
And I'm telling you, Danny, you need to stop trying to apply to be a member of Mambla. It's just not going to happen.
Ha ha ha. What do we got here? Mike Richards says, crank up the hamster wheel. We were trying, man. Oh, that reminds me. I got to silence my phone. There we go. Got that. That was a YouTube app telling me that the Salty Trekker's live. That was funny.
Yeah.
I know, because I'm there.
And to answer Alex Bogey's question early on, I've seen the first, 2 episodes, I think, of Fallout. And it's not bad. I don't know all the lore of the game, obviously, because I've only played a little bit of Fallout 4, thanks to Joseph. But, I like it overall. But, we'll see where it goes.
Sure. Well, do we want to acknowledge the 900-pound ape in the room real quick with our background and stuff for the folks
I don't
watching?
think there's a 900-pound, because we're not talking about Kong.
Oh yeah, I know, 900-pound gorilla. Whatever. Anyway, it was a terrible attempt at a.
Well, gorillas aren't 900 pounds.
Is it 800? Is it the 800-pound gorilla in the room?
I thought it was the 500-pound gorilla.
The 500-pound? I don't know. Anyway, whatever pound gorilla in the room. We don't have any clips from Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, unless we just wanted to loop the trailer on silent in the background, which could or could not get us, copyright struck. Who knows? So we just thought we'd have this Criticless video on a loop because they are the sponsor of the show today for the month of May. I'm rocking my Criticless t-shirt as well.
Yeah. Adult male gorillas can weigh between 300 to 600 pounds, while females can weigh 150 to 250.
Oh, I figured you were going to Google the expression. It's an expression. I don't know where it came from or what. But,
Yeah.
So, but anyway.
I've always heard that it was the 500-pound gorilla.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway,
a silverback gorilla can bench approximately 4,000 pounds.
We'll just say we'll take Stan Lee's advice. An elephant. I was trying to link it somehow to today. We are gonna finish Star Trek Into Darkness. We're gonna finish that review. And we'll timestamp it. We will. We'll timestamp it for people in the future, but we're going to do that second. We want to open up today with our review of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes because Salty made me watch this movie. We both have very, very differing opinions of this movie. I haven't made mine public yet, although if you read the thumbnail, you get a good guess. You'd have a good shot at guessing how I feel about the movie.
Basically, Danny's an idiot. That's what I think.
Which is the status quo. But before we get into that, I do want to say, if you think this shirt is cool and want to see their other really cool designs, go to shop.criticless.com. You got to remember, we're trying to. There you are. We're trying to pay the bills here, buddy. So we got to mention some URLs here. So shop.criticless. Think of the word critic and then the word less put together, and you want to explain why that's the name? Because you do it so well.
Because critics suck. That's his actual motto. Criticless, because critics suck. And the Star Trek 4 review, unfortunately, had some technical difficulties. So we could not post that one. So Planet Kingdom.
Whoa. We did the review. It's the watch along we didn't post.
Oh yeah. But I think he's talking about I don't know. Well, maybe he's talking about the watch along. I don't know. But so let's talk about the Kingdom Planet the Apes.
Well, let's start out by, first of all, did you like the first 3 movies? The what was it? Rise of Planet of the Apes,
Dawn, and War.
And I really do think it should have been Dawn and then Rise, because Dawn is the, you know what I mean? But anyway.
Yeah, we were talking about that this morning, actually, on my church life. Yeah, but just briefly, the idea that, it seems like Dawn should come before Rise. The problem I have, so Do I think the movies are good? Yes. But there's a couple of problems. One, the movies, the best of the three movies was the first one. The second best of the movies was the second one, and the worst of the three was the third.
No, I would agree. I would agree with that, but I wouldn't call the third one bad. But I agree with exactly what you just said.
Right.
I like them in that order. You know, they've gotten progressively worse.
That's a problem if your movies don't maintain a level of interest, you lose audience, which is why they did have some issues there. And Stanley, you made that joke.
That's funny.
He made that joke this morning too.
Oh, well, I wasn't a part of this morning, so
yes.
I never rise before dawn. That's unless you're a Planet of the Apes.
Yes.
Then you do.
Also, Rise of the Planet of the Apes was not the Rise of the Planet of the Apes. If anything, the third movie should be called Rise of the Planet of the Apes, because, quite frankly, the apes didn't rise to a level above humanity until the third film.
Yeah, it should have been like the something with Caesar or something.
Right. It was the first movie was
Dawn of the Apes and then Rise of the Apes. I agree with that.
Yeah, because Caesar, the first movie was just a Caesar origin story.
Yeah,
and it was a darn good one.
Really good movie, which is, I'm going to make a lot of comparisons between that movie and this one throughout the review, just so you know, because that's a really good movie in my opinion.
Just like the new one's really good. And
no, it's not.
And so with Dawn, I felt like that movie honestly felt like filler to me. I liked a lot of the characters in Dawn, it was basically, okay, how do we wrap up the Koba thing and establish Caesar's in control?
Wow. I like what,
and I
at
like
least
the
we
human,
at least we got a good villain with Koba. The villain in this movie, one, is hardly
awesome.
in it, and two, sucks. He's hardly in it, and he sucks.
He's one of the best movie villains we've seen in years.
You're out of your mind.
Why do you keep? You know what? You wanted to talk about the original trilogy, and you keep jumping into the new movie.
You're right. Yeah, let's finish talking about the original trilogy. Sorry.
So, which is unfortunate that they offed Koba in the second film, because I thought Koba was actually a very interesting villain. And then Woody Harrelson was just like a cartoon character to me in the third one. And while he did a good job, he chewed up the scenery, but I didn't feel like it was nearly as compelling as the other two films. And the biggest problem I have with the original trilogy, and I did talk about this morning, is that
we got a ton of people in the chat. Just you want to reply to this? We've got like 6 different people at least saying the same thing. We got Joshua. We got, I don't even know how to begin to say that. Trowiches? I don't know. Cerstus.
Is that the name of Woody's character, or is that
Mike Waterfield? SRS. Oh wow, DSDFTW. Man, we're getting bombed with this. We got Joe G. They're all saying,
I'm not even 100% sure what they're talking about.
Oh my goodness.
Are you okay?
Who, me?
Yeah, you're acting like it's like the biggest thing ever.
No, it's
What are they talking about?
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know what they're talking about. That's the problem. Maritza, I know that name, but I can't think of it. And thank you for subscribing, Shadow Knight. Do you know what they're talking about?
We got a subscriber. I don't...
it's Laura's fault. Laura said... but I still don't know what they're talking about. Lord, what?
Oh, the clerk in DS9. He did nothing wrong.
Oh, that
there we
guy.
go.
Okay.
This is from Lore Reloaded. We must have like a raid.
Yeah, Thomas Potts loves to,
Okay. Yeah. The file. Man, we're still talking. You even put him on our Star Trek villains.
Lord,
if you haven't seen our Star Trek villains rankings video, you should, because he's in it. That's the whole
point of that. Because Thomas went on a tangent about that. And Lord, you were supposed to get back to me. I said, when do you want to get together to talk about doing the super secret whatever project of yours? And you never did.
That's how secret it is, bro.
So give me a text or something. Not right now, obviously, but and we'll talk about it.
So I let the chat sidetrack us, which is fine, and they didn't even super chat us. I apologize. So what? Back to you were talking about Kova, I believe.
Yeah. So Kova, I thought was a more compelling villain than Woody Harrelson's character, and so I thought it was too bad that they kind of pivoted over to that. But my biggest problem with
they needed the Woody Harrelson character in War. They needed a big bad human this time, because you only got the Gary Oldman character in Koba in the second one, and you wanted to pivot to like a human threat, like the human threat. And there were a couple cool shots with Woody Harrelson's character in that movie. There's
a couple of cool shots, but a couple of cool shots.
Like that one when they're well, I know, but he kills himself at the end. He'd rather kill himself than be reduced to dirty.
Hold on. Let me finish my thought here, because I still didn't say the biggest crime that the first three movies commit is that the biggest and most important major events of the story happen off screen, and that pisses me off. It pisses me off to this day that the actual fall of humanity happens during the credits of Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And then we have the war for the Planet of the Apes happens off screen before the movie in War for the Planet of the Apes.
Now you sound like I agree with you. No, these are criticisms I levied at that movie, and out of the three, it is you have a super chat.
And Mercer says, I thought Dawn, the second one, was my favorite. Oldman was awesome. May the Schwartz be with you. Gary Oldman definitely brought his A game, but I think what would have been more interesting, quite frankly, is if you brought Gary Oldman's character into the third film instead of Woody Harrelson's character. And so that when the military came down from the north, which they were talking about at the end of Dawn, then they say, hey, you know what? The apes aren't really our enemy. But Gary Oldman is like, no, they're damn dirty apes kind of thing.
No, that's a great idea, dude. And so you do this a lot. You make movies better. I hate that.
And that would have made for a better third movie than this crap that we got. Because
well, let's not pile too much monkey poo on the movie. We don't
get me wrong. I didn't hate the three movies. I know I said crap, but the monkeys the apes did literally throw their own crap at Woody Harrelson or one of his guards.
Super chat.
And thank you so much, Mr. Bogey said, should the films copy shows and do recaps last time on? Well, the third one does. And also this new movie Kingdom does as well.
Previously on. Well, kind of.
They just tell you in the intro they have some
in the
text.
fourth movie we're about to review. They do the text explaining the first three movies, and they cut to something that presumably happened off screen, after the third movie, which is Caesar's funeral, basically. And
see in this movie, the death of frickin' Caesar off screen in between movies.
No. You knew Caesar was going to die at the end of the last movie. He was watching the sunset or the sunrise on his new home, and he was sitting there with you knew he was going to die.
No, Caesar was fine.
No, he
I
was
just
mortally
watched it.
wounded. He
No,
was
he-
mortally wounded in the third movie. He was shot by Woody Harrelson's, or no, not Woody Harrelson's. He was shot by Woody Harrelson's second in command. You got another super chat.
Yeah, and I don't remember too much from the first three films. First time that Ward debuted, they had a marathon of all three. Fun day. I watched all three in the last week. And you may be right. You may be right. Caesar, you're right. I think Caesar did die in the final battle, but
Well, he didn't die in the battle. He got shot and he was dying, but he took his people. He took his people to the Oasis. His son, who was murdered by Woody Harrelson's character.
I've watched way too many movies in the last week, so I'm trying to remember.
No, because I really thought I didn't think we were going to get another one of these. I thought that was like the end of the story. And before we get into the new movie, they handle that. So like. It sounds like
they show Caesar's funeral in this, which we did not see before.
We did not see before. They show Caesar's funeral, and then it cuts to many generations later, which several people are saying is 5, which is 300 years. You know,
right.
That seems to be the general
who knows
consensus.
how long it's been? It's been long enough to where Caesar's story is now the stuff of legend for people that even know about it.
Well, before we get into that, because there's a lot just with that premise alone I disagree with, let's go ahead and get your hot take, then mine, and then we can get into this movie. Now, since we kind of recapped.
Well, you're going to hate me. My hot take is this is the best of the new Apes films.
Holy shit.
I love this movie. I love the deep themes that it deals with. Despite the fact that you obviously right over the old noggin. And I thought that it had a compelling new hero. I thought it had a compelling new villain. And I do think that despite what you seem to think her story actually did make a little bit of sense. Especially
just to your hot take. We'll get it.
Especially if you're a fan of the old school movies. And so then you would know exactly what May and her ilk are up to. But I think that overall the visual effects phenomenal. I mean, I honestly had to remind myself that I was watching a cartoon. When I'm watching this movie, the apes look real, they emote real. The mocap system that they're using and the models and everything that they're using are just absolute perfection. And the only thing visually that I didn't like is it looks a little janky when they're riding horses, but that's just because apes are shaped a little different than humans.
Can I, because you're doing a little bit more in your hot take than I expected. Hot take's supposed to be hot take. I want to let you know that I do plan on praising the special effects of this movie. Okay. So like you can put a pin in that and move on to finish your hot take.
Oh no, that's fine. Go ahead.
No, I don't. I'm going to wait till you're done, and then I'll do my hot take, and then we can go point by point.
Well, no,
as to why you're wrong with every single point you've just made, but that's fine.
Well, no, you go ahead and give yours now.
For my hot take, I'm just going to read the first.
Alex, thank you so much.
Super chat.
Why didn't humans nuke the apes in the story? Because 499 out of every 500 humans died. The governmental systems around the world collapsed. But the problem is
Didn't you guys watch the movie, the first 3 movies? It was like the coronavirus. People would sneeze. They would get, what they call it? But
it happened. The thing is, that's my problem. It all happened during the credits of the first film. So if you're not paying attention,
there were scenes when like an airplane pilot was sneezing and like he goes somewhere.
That was the last shot of the movie. Was the airplane? No, he didn't sneeze. The airplane pilot got a nosebleed just before he boarded his flight.
Nosebleed, whatever.
And then that was the last shot of the movie. It cuts to credits. Most people, they check out at that point, and they're just like, oh, I guess that whatever killed that one dude that was the comic relief, he's got sick too. But then unless you're paying attention during the credits, you don't realize that most of humanity has been wiped out. And so
I guess I've been trained by Marvel. I pay attention to the credits. So my hot take, this is going to be, so this does not often happen. So I went and saw this movie yesterday. Originally I was going to see it Monday with my son, but fortunately for him, he got busy. So we just kind of hung out at the coffee shop on Monday. And then Tuesday I went and saw this movie by myself. And, I disliked it so much. When I got home, I immediately started writing what's going to end up being my review on Criticlist. And if it gets lengthy enough, I might even post it on a couple other sites. It's definitely going to be on my Criticlist, sponsor of the show, criticlist.com. The links to both of our pages on Criticlist are in the description if you want to check out all the movies that we've rated there. I believe I'm up to 69 right now. In fact, I know I am because I've been leaving it there on purpose for a little bit. Because I'm a child.
My review for Planet of the Apes is already on Criticlist.
Your review's already up. I wanted to wait till after we did this so I could link this video there. Super chat.
Says Peter Macon, who is Bortus, plays Raka in the new one. Yes, I'm aware.
Yes, that is the case. So this is the first draft of my summary. At the end of my reviews, I usually do a summary. It kind of could serve as the hot take. I'll probably make it a little bit more snarky. But right now I have
snarky from what you read to me. It's already
that's in the body of that's like I read you a couple lines from a couple earlier paragraphs. In summary, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a visually impressive but dramatically inert film that fails to live up to the high standards set by its predecessors. It's a lackluster addition to the series, more notable for its technical prowess than its storytelling. If you're a fan of the franchise, you might find some enjoyment in the visuals, but don't expect the same level of quality and engagement that defined the earlier films. So what I normally do is I'll write something like that, and then, like I was doing with you behind the scenes, then I'll add like a stinger, like a little smart-ass comment at the end. For example, I make a reference to putting lipstick on a pig earlier in my article. I make the one that I said I would edit for your show. Noah, the main character, is about as flat as our friend Darren Wagner thinks the Earth is. There's no character development. I think that character, I'm getting ahead of myself. Look, my hot take is it's beautiful. It's an adventure movie. If you can turn off your brain and just munch on popcorn, that's what this franchise has become. And that's not what it was, in my opinion. That's my hot take. Discuss.
What's to discuss? The
amazing.
Film.
No. Like,
the amazing thing about what you just said.
We'll go point by point.
The amazing thing about what you just said is everything you just said is wrong.
Okay. So the special effects aren't great.
Other than the special effects being good,
Because the only problem, I had little teeny tiny nitpicks. There are scenes where they're on a horse. They're on horses and they go through water, and their backs look more like plastic. Like that was the only thing. Because I was looking for shit to nitpick, and their feet look a little weird just in a couple of shots on the horses. So I think that whenever horses were involved, because I guess those were fake too, or were they real horses? Because I know they did motion capture. Were they
right? I believe the horses were real, and in fact. My understanding is, but I haven't seen any behind the scenes footage, is that they did the same technique as they did for the first three films. And if you look at when they're riding horses in the first three films, you'll notice this same weird thing where it seems like the lower body and the upper body, there's something slightly off. And so what I'm thinking is that the lower body is practical while the upper body is CG.
Probably. I mean, the feet have to be CG because of how, I don't know. There was one scene I remember seeing Noah's feet, and I watched it in a huge XD. It's
we did too.
And
it's like the Dolby whatever mega Atmos thing.
Yeah. With that, and the sound was oh my god! The first time they make little like ape noises. I literally like did like that, 'cause, you know, because they were talking, but then they would mix in though. First they're doing sign language, and then
Right.
they use words, but they sneak in between those words like the weird ape noises. It was jarring at first,
Right, because they're still apes. I think that's
yeah, which is fine. I didn't like. I have no problem with that whatsoever. It was just the you know, because I was in the Dolby, like they're talking over here, and then I hear ape sound, like you know what I mean. It just tripped me out a little bit. So the sound mixing was good. The special effects were technically. I would find anybody, even the biggest curmudgeon out there, they'd be hard pressed to find technical stuff wrong with this movie. The sound was good, the visuals were good, the
and
special
it had a
effects were
budget
good.
that was like less than half of Avatar.
There you go. So
know,
now
and-
I do
and
have questions though. Like, are they shooting this? So if I know they did motion capture. Now, if they did motion, I have a couple questions I don't know the answers to. If people in the chat want to help us out or link articles, or if you know. But okay, so the horses, you're guessing people in motion caps are on real horses. Okay, but then what about the environment? Are they shooting on location, or is
Yes,
the
they
environment
did
100% digital?
No, they
too?
shot on location.
They did.
That
Okay.
I did. That I did know. Yes.
Okay, because
The
that would have
director.
been
Yeah, the director very much wanted to shoot on location.
okay, cool. Well, then I was going to say, because that shit looked real. That's because it was. All right,
Yeah,
so there you go. But they matched them together fairly well. So you know, so yeah, I don't really have any gripes about the special effects, you know, at all.
And no, Stan, it is nothing like the Disney Lion King, where you can't see any emotion. The emotion is very effectively conveyed through the apes.
Yeah,
When
the motion
I
capture
would-
is done really, really well. The eyes, like you see emotion in their eyes.
I
for
guarantee
crying out
you
loud.
that there are at least a couple of scenes that if Danny enjoyed the movie more, he would have cried at from the apes' performance.
Well, there was one that the dad.
Yeah.
When are we talking spoilers? Are we going to spoil this?
I guess. I mean, you know, it's
so when Noah's dad is killed and everybody thinks Noah's dead too, and he comes to and he finds his dad's dead body. That was a sad scene. But you know what? One, it's kind of toward the beginning of the movie. In the opening, oh my God, the first 20-25 minutes of this movie are slow as fuck. Slow. They were a chore to get through. They were, no, I remember I called you after I saw the movie. That was
Danny
the first thing I said.
Right. Danny doesn't like a thing called character development.
It wasn't well, I mean, I guess a little bit. We found out the one ape whose name I forget was a chicken shit. He was all bluff and no stuff. The one ape, I guess, he's going to be this movie Caesar, and the other one's his love interest. I don't know anything more other than that. Really? They developed, that's character development? No, it was a bunch of boring ass, lots of they can talk. Why are they using sign language? Why? Hold up. I don't need to get so upset. I'm working on this. Gotta keep my blood pressure down. Why? It doesn't make any sense. The beginning was slow. Anyway, you got me off track.
Right. As far as why they use sign language so much, I think it has to do with the fact that ape vocal cords aren't like human vocal cords, and so it's more difficult for them to speak.
I was talking to a buddy of mine at AA who saw the movie, and he said, "Well, I think they were trying to be quiet around the eagle." Okay, maybe that makes a little bit more sense.
And it could also be a holdover culturally because Caesar learned how to sign before he learned how to talk, and they
go ahead. And they could what?
And they probably all learn to sign before they even learn how to talk.
Fair enough. I do think my buddy, I won't name his name because that defeats the purpose of AA. I think he's probably closer. They were just trying to be quiet around the Eagles, but I didn't know what they were doing until after the you know what they're doing, I guess.
Right.
If that makes sense. So Stan Lee, clearly you have not been following me very long. I am famous for hating all of those movies.
Right, because he hates character development.
No, those are the three of the most boring movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, Danny hates character development.
Whatever.
What he
If that
wants
were
is
true-
pew explosions good.
If that were true, I would love this movie because that's all this movie is. It makes no effing sense. It's just like
No,
it's
you wouldn't love
what's
this
the motive?
movie.
No, what's the okay? You want to get into it, man? Let's get into it. What the hell is what is anybody's motivation? Pick a character and give me their motivation, because you can't. It's weak. It's weak. It's
Noah's,
flimsy. It's lazy at best.
Shut up and let me answer. All right. Noah's motivation is to rescue his family, his clan, and bring them back home. The orangutan's motivation is to preserve the word of Caesar. Proxima's motivation is to get a hold of human technology in order to reign supreme. How's that for a few characters?
Let's go one at a time, shall we? And before we do,
No,
Daniel,
hold on. I just refuted
Daniel,
your point.
No, we're going to hit them one. We're going to hit them one at a time. And Daniel, they're not deaf. The apes.
No,
are
yeah,
not
they're
deaf.
definitely not deaf, because they do talk to each other.
So let's do this one at a time. Pick one. Let's start one at a time so I can rebuttal. Okay, because I'm not taking notes here.
So you're saying Noah didn't want to rescue his clan?
Okay, so let me ask you a couple questions. Let's talk about Noah. Who is Noah?
Noah is the son of the leader of the tribe.
Okay, which we find out a little bit later.
It's the Eagle clan.
He's the Eagle clan. He's a
clan that, by the way, do nothing about Caesar prior to this film.
He's the kid of the High Chief, Peter Monkavia. And that's a wrestling joke for all you fans out there. So he's that's what we know about him. What the hell does he got to do with Caesar or anything with the previous movies? Nothing, right? You just kind of said that. It's got nothing to do with Caesar.
He doesn't.
These people don't follow the teachings of Caesar. He doesn't even. Hold up. No. We'll get there. Right when we're introduced to this character, and I'll give you the first 30 minutes of the movie. We're introduced to this character.
That's like saying the new Star Wars movies suck because Rey wasn't Luke's daughter. No, he's not directly related.
No, I'm not saying that at all. No, I'm not saying that this would be better, although it would have been, had he been somehow related to Caesar. I'm not saying that at all. This character doesn't even, correct me if I'm wrong, doesn't even know about Caesar until he meets the orangutan, right?
Right. That's the point.
Because the people there that raid his village, they say like, for Caesar. And he's like, who's Caesar? Like, he like essentially
he learns, and that's where I talked about there are deeper themes in this movie than you give it credit for, because one of the things that this movie is all about is maintaining truth as far as things like Caesar is now a Christ figure in this story, and you have people that want to hold on to the truth about Christ, that he was loving, and that man and apes could one day coexist.
So, hold up.
Let me finish my rebuttal, my friend.
You're mixing this with Raqqa. Now you're getting into more of Raqqa's stuff. Like nothing you're saying has anything to do with Noah.
See, but that's because Noah was our perspective getting into this. Noah knew nothing about either side of this, and then he meets both sides. He meets Raqqa and learns about the true word of Caesar just after he meets the men of Proxima and sees the abused word of Caesar. And just like religion today, you have people that will use the name of Christ for their own personal gain and to get power and stuff, aka Kenneth Copeland and Benny Hinn and those kind of people. And then you have people that will try to use the name of Christ to spread the message of universal love. And
like Joel Osteen.
No, did I say Joel Osteen? Jeez, man. Why you gotta be a dick about everything now? And look, I didn't name anybody, but I would say like Corey from the church that I go to. Okay. But you have people on both sides. And by the way, it's a lot easier, and as we see in this movie, to garner followers if you are inciting the mob as opposed to talking about peace and love. Which I think is also very true. So I think one thing that you were kind of missing is you got all worked up over humans and apes, but you forgot that the story is about apes. It's not about humans. Humans are a side character at best.
here's the thing. Here's what I
And by
like.
the way, did I mention May's motivation? I'm sorry. May's
that's not-
motivation
no,
is
we
to
haven't got to
also
May yet.
acquire
We haven't
the
got to
tech-
May yet. We're still talking about Noah.
I know,
We're still
but you
talking
were
about
asking
Noah.
about motivations earlier. May's
and I
motivation
said
is
we'll
to
do them one at a
acquire
time.
technology for the humans.
And we'll get to her in a second. We're talking about Noah right now. Now, something that they did expertly well in the first movies, specifically in the first movie, is so we get brought in, and we're not necessarily Caesar's point of view. You're more of the James Franco character's point of view, and then Caesar gets brought into it, and then it kind of pivots, and then you have his point of view. So they bring you in through the human point of view in that movie, but this is a story really about the hubris of man, which leads to its downfall, the rise of the apes. And you're saying that this movie here is supposed to be more about the apes, yet the character you're about to get into, her motivation is, what did you just say? Because you're not wrong. Her motivation is what?
Right, to acquire the technology for humans.
Okay, so acquire some kind of MacGuffin
Right.
that we don't know why at first. We find out at the very last scene of the movie, which is Jesus. So and then
you're going to get on that when all three of the other movies did far worse?
Dude, first of all, by the end of the last
At
movie,
least we
that
didn't have
saw,
to watch
by
the credits to see what they were doing.
By the end of the last movie we saw, humanity, like you said it yourself, like 99 out of 100 people or whatever it was, 499 out of 500 people come down with this form of mental retardation where they can't speak and they get stupid, kind of like the characters we run into in the Charlton Heston movie.
That's not true. No.
Then what, am I wrong then?
No, yes, you are wrong. In the first movie, we find out that only 1 out of every 500 people survive the virus.
Oh, okay. It's flat out survive it. Okay.
Yeah. So 500, 499 500ths of humanity is wiped out at the end of the first movie, and nobody ever got that. And it's not until the third movie that people start getting dumb.
Okay, so out of the even you're proving my point even more. So even out of that, that's even a smaller, tinier percentage of humans who would be smart. Okay, so if we're talking 1 out of every 500 people survived, God, I don't even know what 0.00000001 or whatever, stayed smart. And I'm supposed to believe that there is a not only one giant bunker filled with smart humans that we see at the end of the movie, but a network with several of them all over the planet. Get the fuck out of here. Now that doesn't make sense. And she's apparently, we find out at the end of the movie that not only is she not one of these dumb humans, because we do run into a pack of these dumb humans with the orangutan, when they get caught by the bad guys or whatever, that she's basically a plant. She's there on a mission, and her mission is to find Proxima and infiltrate the vault he's trying to get into, which is his government. It looked like a ship or something to me, like a what are those? The nuclear vessels from what are those called? The destroyers or something like that, or I'm sorry, I'm not a Navyman, but if Chief Cook were here, he'd be really quick to correct me. So anyways, it looked like one of those. And so she's actually, so you think she can't talk at first. And then it's supposed to be this big reveal when she yells out Noah's name for that scene you see in the commercials for the movie, in the trailer for the movie.
So by the way, just so you are aware, assuming that, okay, so 1 out of every 500 people survived the virus initially.
Okay.
Even if 1 out of every 500 of those managed to avoid becoming mentally deficient, that would still leave 32,000 people.
32,000 on all of the planet Earth.
Yes. However,
Okay.
what you're not taking into account is the fact that these people were in hermetically sealed bunkers. And so remember at the end of the movie, at the end of this movie, they don't want to open the door because they're afraid of contamination.
Right, and she's wearing the hazmat suit when she gets the
so
MacGuffin.
they are taking safeguards to prevent getting infection.
All right, and I get it. They're probably procreating in these little, what'd you call them, hermetically sealed vaults or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's Fallout, just with apes.
this does a lot of off-screen shit going on. It sounds like
Yes,
you're
I
saying
know.
it's the same complaint.
It's the same crap that happened in the last 3 movies, but they kind of set that up in War for the Planet of the Apes. Even in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, when we learn that there are military bases all around.
Throughout the majority of the movie, I hate when movies do this. Throughout the majority, I'm talking 90% of this film, I'm asking, what the hell does she, what? Like, this makes no sense. And then I'm supposed to be happy at the end. Oh, she's okay. She's a part of these super smart humans that are trying to win back the the Icarus was in, I believe it was called the Icarus. What was the shuttle or the space
Icarus
shuttle?
was in the first film, yes.
It's in the first movie,
right?
So it's gonna happen eventually, and because they're making it seem like it's gonna line up with the Charlton Heston movies,
right? This is the first movie that feels like it takes place in something like the same world that Charlton Heston's movie took place in.
I hate that Hollywood does this. They're always in such a rush. It's what ruined Spider-Man 3. You didn't need Venom in it. They didn't need to skip 300 years. That's, I think, my biggest problem with the premise.
Well, actually, I think it was smart to skip 300 years.
Too much shit happens off screen.
I agree that too much stuff happened off screen, but at the same time, I think the time jump, if you're not going to do another Caesar story, I think jumping 300 or whatever years it's supposed to actually be, I don't know why everybody's saying 300 years. I've only heard many generations, but
if you take a generation is usually agreed upon to be 20 years. If that's
but
the
an
case,
ape generation is shorter than a human generation.
Well, I mean, are they relating it to apes or humans? Huh? Are they relating it to apes or humans?
I don't know.
That's for our. Well, we're humans are watching.
All we know is
movie.
it says the title card just says many generations later. It should, unfortunately, it should say 300 years later to give us a proper
all I know
timetable,
is Anthony Mark, who's a big supporter of both of us, who's not here because this timeline frame doesn't work for him, but he always watches the replays and he always leaves his comments. So I'm happy to give him a shout out. Mm-hmm. He was very adamant that he thinks it's 300 years. I was on the Salty. I wasn't on it. I was in the chat for Salty the other day. Mm-hmm. They were reviewing this movie and he was in the chat and he was so he seems to, I don't know where he got that from, but when I was watching the movie, I thought maybe it would say 300 years, but it said many or several generations. I was thinking, well, several is more than 5, 6. So 6 would be 360 years. And he's saying 3, maybe he's going with 5, because I don't know. So I can buy the 300-year time frame.
Well, I don't care. I don't really care, to be honest. I just know that it's obviously a long time later, and I think that's a smart move. I think that's what they need to do with Star Wars. Quite frankly, is make the next Star. Don't do a new Rey movie. Do a movie that takes place 300, 400, 500 years later, so that we can just get a fresh take on things, new characters. Hopefully better stories.
That's fine. Okay. And I know, you know what, that's fine. And I'm cool with that. But if they're doing that, I don't know. This felt a lot like, what they tried to do, the legend of Luke Skywalker.
Except that Luke Skywalker was a 20-year gap. That was stupid.
Okay. I'll give you that.
This is a 300-year gap. That makes more sense. Think about it. What do you know about people that lived 300 years ago?
Not much, although I'm glad
Can you name any?
I would be glad to be a white man 300 years ago. Not so much now.
But can you name any major political figure from 300 years ago?
300 years ago.
300, yes. 100 years before the foundation of this country.
What's the name of the lady that made the flag?
Betsy Ross?
Betsy Ross. There you go. She's from 300 years ago.
She is not from 300 years ago.
Yeah, she was in the 1700s. That's 300 years ago. Isn't it? Yeah. We're in the 20s, 17, 18, 19. I can do simple math. Yeah, George Washington. He's 300 years ago, isn't he? I don't know. I could be wrong. Often am, willing to admit it. You look it up. While you're looking that up, Alex, I'll have this debate any day of the week and twice on Sundays. A huge
Betsy
Spider-Man
Ross
fan.
died in 1836.
So she was when she was born. When was
She was born in 1752.
1752. Okay, come on, man. Mid
So-
1700s.
Right.
That counts. That counts.
It does not count.
It's almost 300 years ago.
It
All right,
is-
fine.
It's not.
Now,
300
annoying
years.
critic Henry VIII is way more than 300 years. Anyway, I want to, Alex, as a lifelong Spider-Man fan, and if you don't believe me, just go to YouTube and type in Las Vegas comic book theft. I'm the first 3 videos that show up. I had almost the entire run of the Amazing Spider-Man, and I'll have this argument all day long. Venom wasn't introduced into the comics until Spider-Man had been around like over 50 some odd years. They didn't know. Like, Venom should not have been anywhere near the first 3 movies. Probably not even the first 5. They were just cramming way too much in and trying to jump way too forward
Right.
in that lore for me.
Well, if they brought Venom into the next Tom Holland movie, you're pushing it.
I hope they do the idea that they're saying. I know Sony doesn't want them to because it doesn't seem like it'll be $1 billion idea, but it's a Spider-Man idea, and they can do it. They can make it on the cheap. You know what? They're
No, I haven't heard anything.
It's Spider-Man being more on the street level, fighting Kingpin, having a mini crossover with Daredevil, just like in the comics. I think that would be cool.
Well,
But
they could do
Sony-
that as a Disney Plus series, though, as opposed to, and I think it would make more sense as a Disney Plus series, but in fact, it would get a whole lot of people to subscribe to Disney Plus, quite frankly, if Tom Holland was doing a Spider-Man series.
And Stanley Venom's late 80s, early 90s, not mid 80s. Do your research. Do your research, man.
Venom was part of...
I had all 3 of those issues you referred to. I even had one of them signed by Todd McFarlane because everybody thinks the first appearance of
Can
Venom.
we get back to the movie?
Yes, sorry about that. See,
Yeah.
you want to talk to me about comic books, bro, especially Spider-Man. It's go time.
We're not talking about Venom right now. We're talking about Apes. And
Okay,
anyway,
so let's go to the next character you wanted to talk about, May. Okay, so we were talking about May, and I was talking about how I didn't like the little twist at the end. Do you
Okay.
think, what about
have you seen the movie Beneath the Planet of the Apes?
No, I haven't.
That's why you didn't give a crap about the twist.
Oh, so homework? I got to watch
No, I'm not saying-
a 70-year-old movie,
Hey,
or
you know
whatever it is?
what? I'm sorry, but you got to watch the frickin' credits to even understand the ending of the first movie.
I'll watch
so-
the credits, but you want me to watch an hour and a half from 70 years ago, from 1960 something? Come on.
Anyway,
80 years ago? I mean, come on.
wow, dude, 80 years ago. You want to say when I was born
Sorry,
80
six-
years ago?
Okay. Oh, I'm exaggerating, of course.
Yes. Anyway, so but Beneath the Planet of the Apes, I think, is what they're ultimately setting up for the third film. I'm hoping what we're going to see is that the next film is actually going to be where the Icarus lands, and that will be their version of Planet of the Apes. Obviously, Beneath the Planet of the Apes was a sequel, and we find out that there are people who did retain their intelligence.
See, look, I
in the
haven't watched
original
any of those
continuity.
old movies. I don't
Right,
plan
but-
on watching those old movies. I've heard that they've got even like time travel shenanigans and bullshit like that.
That came after that.
This is supposed to be
The time travel shenanigans is like Conquest of the Planet of the Apes and that kind of thing. But in Beneath the Planet of the Apes, you had basically a group of humans that were living underground in bunkers, and they had a world-busting atomic bomb, basically, that ends up getting set off at the end and destroys the entire planet. But which is what creates the situation where a couple of apes are sent back in time for the next movie.
Yeah. So, Stan Lee, imagine having a mint copy of that with Todd McFarlane's signature, and now imagine it was stolen with the rest of your collection. Boo-hoo, you can't afford it. I had it, and now I don't. Cry me a river.
All right, get over it.
Anyway, back to this. Sorry.
Yes.
All right, the villain.
I still have
oh my God!
Amazing
Now
Spider-Man 300, but
good for you. Let's talk about the villain. This villain first of all, he's in maybe 20% of the movie. We see like
he's
of
in over
the big
half
guy.
of the movie.
No, he's not in over half the movie. The big guy is, and I don't even remember the big guy's name. The big gorilla guy, his henchman. He's the one that's in it. He's in it more than the main villain.
First of all, the main villain, Darth Vader only had like 18 minutes of screen time in Star Wars, right? So you don't have to have the main villain on screen all the time.
Yeah, but they kill this villain at the end of the movie. He's like, okay, if he didn't die,
you didn't like him anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, but if he didn't die, no, your argument about Darth Vader would be valid if he's going to be in the next movie.
Not necessarily.
But they kill him. They kill him in this movie. Spoilers. Sorry. Like
That's because he's not the focus.
He's the main villain.
No, he was the villain of this film. You were just
rewind it to the beginning of this, folks. You were talking about how great. Tell me why.
I do think he was a great
Proximus Caesar's so great. Tell me, like they barely even. Why is he Proximus Caesar? Like
he's Proximus Caesar because he's usurping the Caesar name in order to garner influence among the apes. Again, the perversion of religion.
And why is it? Hold it. Explain this to me. So they come in, they take all this entire clan, the Eagle clan, they bring it back to his kingdom where they've captured a bunch of other clans. So there's tons. They're outnumbered ridiculously, like ants and grasshoppers. There's a Disney reference for you folks. And it's ridiculous that they never think to overthrow this guy. Why? Because his name is Proximus Caesar. Before you answer,
first of all, yes. And it's to you.
Dork Knight. I don't care about comic books. They are beneath me. Well, fuck you, buddy. In the Spider-Man animated series, Venom episode was best and scariest villain. Cool, Alex. You gave him the money, so I can say, fuck you, I don't care. Take that off the screen. So what you're telling me is you're ignorant. That's fine. They're not beneath you.
It's on a timer.
It's the written word. Me too dumb to read comic books.
Dude, really? Hey, you're insulting one of my best supporters here.
Isn't this the same guy who was defending a pedophile a couple episodes ago?
Yeah, but I'm just saying,
So I got no problem, roasting this guy. Oh my god. Oh my god. In fact, hold up. Remember we were looking and I had to use Bill Cosby. His character arc felt forced and uninspired, kind of like the last time Alex Bogey had sex. That's what I'm going to use. That's what I'm going to use in my article. Nobody will get it, but the people who watch this show. Or maybe you should say
kind of like Gene Roddenberry's sex life.
I like that better. I'm changing that to that right now.
There you go.
Oh, I love it. Gene Roddenberry. Beautiful. Yeah. It's more on brand. Yeah. You saw it here, folks.
All right. So.
No, but seriously, tell me why this is such a good villain.
Again, it's the thematic element here. It's the fact that he represents the perversion of religion. And by the way, also and it's an interesting phenomenon because it's very common for slaves to massively outnumber the slave masters. That happened hold on. That have happened in the American South. It happened in Egypt. It happened every time there's major slavery because slaves are used as workers primarily. And so what do you have? You have a whole mess of workers and a few people cracking whips at them. And so
we have that exact thing in this movie, by the way. We literally, guys, like they
right, but it's
kind of. I mean, if it were
they're not whips, they're like electric.
They were still
whips.
I'm just saying, if they were humans, if they were black humans instead of black monkeys, I don't think they would have even shot that scene because that was intense. That was
true. If you've not seen 12 Years a Slave, they still make.
Okay. All right. Well,
which, by the way, is a really good movie.
I actually haven't seen it. So much of the, what do they call that? White privilege guilt. I just can't bring myself to watch it. I guess I don't know. Well, and Stan Lee, thanks. It's a hell of a thing being sober. We're trying to get my. Now I'm working on what they call emotional sobriety. Trying to get that in check because my
never going to happen.
Yeah. A couple of people have pointed out I'm a lot more manic since I quit drinking. So I'm trying to get that in check. We're playing around with different medications.
And it's probably part of the reason that you hated this movie.
No, this is just compared to the other movie. I don't know. This just felt like a cash grab. It just felt like it was just one adventure beat to the next, one adventure beat to the next, action, action, action. Whereas in the previous 3 movies, there was story that had the action was the payoff. This just seems like a lot of action set pieces for action's sake.
See, I totally disagree with you. I think that the
then tell me why. Tell me why, please.
Because I think the action served the story. I think that the initial scenes of the guerrillas attacking the Eagle Clan, it sets up the whole plot in motion. And then it only took like 45 minutes to get to that. But yeah, this movie was way too long. It did not need to be 2.5 hours long. It really didn't. But that's whatever. Anyway. Yeah, but they wanted to take the time to let this movie breathe, to let you get to react. First of all, you realize it's been a long time since the Planet of the Apes movie came out. And it's been
7 or 8 years, I believe.
That's a long time in Hollywood time, right? There's a lot of people that likely will see this movie that may not have seen the prior 3, or at least don't remember them and aren't going to spend 6 hours on Max watching them. So it's a good idea to reacclimate people, which, by the way, I think that's the real world answer to why they sign first and then gradually start talking, is to get people back into the mode that, oh yeah, apes can talk and I got to get used to this. But when we're introduced to the Eagle Clan, we learn a little bit about their social structure. We understand that there's pesky humans about every once in a while, but people don't see them very often.
Yeah, they call them Echo. Like his clan calls them.
Yeah, his clan called them Echoes because they didn't even know the word human.
Right.
And then the other clan, because you think, I don't know about you, but they set it up to where you think it's humans attacking his clan until the first one takes his mask off, and then oh crap, it's an ape. What's going on? And so now there's multiple clans.
And I like how they did that, because it felt very Native American to me. Like they were. Did you get that vibe too? Like it felt like they were like, these are the Sequoias and these are the Cherokee and these are the
the tribal rivalries among apes
and the primitiveness of it.
Right.
Like it was very, especially because they spend the first 30 fucking minutes of this. Like,
dude, you gotta stop with that. Okay,
sorry. Okay, the first 30 minutes of this movie, guys, are 3 kids, basically 3 teenage apes.
It's about 10 minutes of them going after the eggs.
They're going after these eagle eggs, and then
because it's a major part, it's a rite of passage for their clan.
But we don't ever get. Okay, you know what? I'm just.
You're mad because we didn't get to see an eagle hatch. Is that what it is?
No, well, that was kind of beat up. All the eggs they got get. There's basically baby murder.
Well, except we see a yolk. That egg was not fertilized.
Yeah, right. I guess not. That wouldn't
work. So he wasn't going to get himself an eagle anyway. But then he becomes the leader of the Eagle Clan at the end. So,
So we've gone over Noah, we've gone over May, we've gone over Proxima. The supporting characters are even more laughable. We've got.
I liked Raka a lot.
Trevor Raka was cool. I liked Raka, but coolest character they kill right away. He's in the movie 10, 15 minutes, 2.5 hour movie.
And by the way, did you catch that he was gay?
Yes, I did. As a matter of fact.
Yeah,
I was like, there go. No,
there's the checkbox right there.
Yeah, there's the checkbox. Yeah,
we have a gay ape.
Yeah, clearly a bottom. No, I'm just kidding.
No, wow.
So we have Raka. We have Trevorthan, which is a fucking epic name. Man, I wish this movie would have come out before I named my kid. That is a funny. It's like they took Trevor and Jonathan and mashed them together. Yeah. That's the William H. Macy character, which, spoilers again, I didn't even know he was in the movie.
So I didn't either until he walked out. I was like, oh, crap.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that guy. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there's only 3 humans you ever see. Well, other than the herd, which are just extras.
You see. Well, yeah.
There are 3 humans that actually have lines.
Right. Yeah. There you go. Yes. Yeah, we see a herd of the primitive ones that are kind of like the Charleston Heston, movie, which is the only one I've ever seen out of all those first ones. Is the very first one, and then you have the people at the end.
And the hunting scene is brutal.
And you have the people at the which one are we?
When they show the humans being hunted.
Oh yeah.
Which they did a great. If you haven't seen the Charlton Heston film, well, you've seen it, but if you haven't seen it recently, they do a really good job evoking imagery from that film. And that hunting scene, I think, in particular, felt like it was just a modern retelling of the hunting scene from Charlton Heston.
And no, Stan, they don't ride the eagles. They do the they have.
Although that would have been awesome,
yeah, it's unbelievable enough. These guys are riding horses, especially that one. They're
way too big to be on.
The right hand man. No, the other one, the chimps, they can get away with.
Yeah, but the gorillas and stuff.
That right hand man. That gorilla being on a horse, no effing way.
He was at the 500 to 600 pound range.
Easy.
And that horse was not a Clydesdale.
Yeah.
If that horse was a Clydesdale, I might have been able to buy it. But it was
every time I saw that, I was like, he's bigger than the horse. What the hell?
Yeah.
Like, then it kind of took me out of it a little bit.
And by the way, he probably could be swinging faster than the horse could run.
Yeah.
So.
Anyway, the other characters. So we had Trevor. And the chick. Again, spoilers, guys. Sorry, bitch kills him. Like kind of in a unprovoked. He's just like, I'm going to tell on you. Oh well, gotta die. Yokes him out and just kills him. That was and yet the other heroes were supposed to go off with this chick and trust this chick. And then
so I think that the there's a red herring there, and I also think it makes sense given the ending of the film, is that the red herring is that she cares so much about the possibility of apes and humans getting along that she's not going to let this guy bust their plan.
She doesn't want them to get along. She literally says,
dude, I'm saying. So her what they're trying to set up is to get you to believe that she's willing to kill another human to protect the apes, to protect the hopeful relations between humans and apes. But then we find out at the end, no, it's because it was all about the satellite codes all along.
Yeah.
And so she didn't give a crap about the apes.
She doesn't. She gives no fucks about the apes. I honestly thought she was going to shoot Noah at the end of the movie. When
I
they
did
show her
too.
holding, I really thought she was going to shoot him.
But I would have been so pissed because I like Noah. So I was like, no.
I actually would have preferred Noah get killed than the villain get killed, because then in the next movie you've got a villain we can focus on a little bit more, who didn't get as much character development or screen time as Noah did, and they did the opposite of what they normally do. They kill the hero instead of the villain, and then in the next movie you have a new hero.
Now Noah is. But you see,
Noah's basically Caesar in this. This right,
but Noah's set up to be more like Caesar now because he realizes that humans can't be trusted. And so
does he though? Because at the end of the movie, him and the girl have a kumbaya moment where she should have shot him and she didn't. And I think that's going to come back to bite her. If they do a good job, it'll come back to bite her in the ass.
But if you look at the look on Noah's face, he doesn't trust her. And so like he might like her personally because of their adventure together, but I don't think he'll ever trust her like he did before.
Well, we're a little over the halfway mark. If we go a little long, I don't mind, because I want to give this movie the attention it deserves. And Star Trek Into Darkness, quite frankly, who gives a shit?
Well, we'll
just
get
kidding.
Through that.
Not really. Quickly. But so let's get okay. So we've kind of any other characters you want to cover? I mean, we kind of hit all the big ones. Like,
those are the main characters.
Those are the main ones. Other supporting characters include the chicken shit chimp. I don't remember his name, and then the girlfriend,
who was kind of comic relief.
Yeah, he was kind of the comic relief, and the girlfriend, and I don't remember her name either. So whatever. I'm glad that I remember. I guess Proxima is kind of easy because of Gladiator to remember. Noah's kind of easy because of the Bible. May, because I associate
by the
it
way,
with Aunt May.
how could you not-
Actually, I'm proud of. I remember Raka. That's the only one that I'm proud I remember. But he was a good character. I will give. But he's in the movie 10, 15 minutes. You know what I mean? I didn't care that he was gay. If anything, the gay community should be pissed. Oh, you killed the one gay chimp or orangutan. You killed the. Oh, and why is the orangutan got to be gay? We can't get a gay chimp. I mean. I digress, but anyway.
Well, maybe we'll find out that his best friend is also gay or something.
Yeah.
But let me double check the characters, make sure there's no one that we're missing.
Oh yeah, I do miss that about Jason. He always had the IMDb.
Let's see, we got Raka. It was Silva was the best friend.
Okay.
And let's see,
Silva, the comic release one, right? So that's the guy.
And there was
he
his
pretended
mom.
to be brave, and then the second something happens, the shit hits the fan. He leaves, and then there's another scene where he's too afraid to go with him, but then he kind of redeems himself by showing up with a little bit of a joke or something.
Right. There was his mom's character, which I liked her too.
Yeah, but do you remember her name? Because I don't.
Raka.
No, Raka's the orangutan.
Right. Yeah. There's Anaya.
Anaya's the girlfriend, I believe, right?
No, Anaya was voiced by...
Anaya's the friend. No, I remember
you're
that.
Right, you're right. Anaya's the friend.
Anaya's the friend. Silva must be the girlfriend.
No, that's because it's voiced by a dude.
Point is, folks, we can't remember their names, and we're just further proving it. So we're okay. So
it's Dar or it's I think it's Dar.
You're just proving my point. They're forgettable. Yeah. We don't. Remember
and then the
names.
mom is Maurice.
Maurice is the mom. Okay. Well, so then let's talk about the plot then. So we've talked about the characters. Now let's get into the plot. Yeah. Now maybe the horse was gay. Well, I mean, they're both animals, so whatever. I'm not going to judge. Probably get in trouble for that nowadays. What would you say is the plot of this movie?
Well, the plot points of this movie.
Okay, summarize the general story.
Well, the general story is that, okay, we're picking up 300 years after the death of Caesar. The apes are at a fragmented political state, and it starts out where we're introduced to the Eagle clan. Another clan raids his village, and a young coming-of-age ape and his two best... he is alone at first, has to go on a quest to free his clan. Along the way, he meets an orangutan named Raka, a mysterious human woman who can speak despite the fact that humans have long lost the ability to speak. And then they discover that there's more to the kingdom of the Planet of the Apes than what meets the eye, because there's a huge underground bunker that Proxima Caesar is trying to get into that he believes holds the secret to world domination.
Okay.
Wouldn't you say that's a brief synopsis of the story?
Summer blockbuster, popcorn eating, brainless adventure. Yeah.
But but as I said before, what makes the movie deep isn't, I mean, like, you could break down Star Trek 2 to be, a guy that Kirk trapped on a planet 15 years ago breaks free and tries to kill him.
You could, but then you can get into a deep discussion of what happens to further those that story along.
But the same thing with Kingdom. You can talk about.
Well, then let's do that. There you go.
You really want to be here
with a broad
until
stroke. Let's. Well, we can break it up into acts.
I already talked about the fact that it's the themes of this movie that is what makes it so deep. It's the religious themes of the beliefs of Raka, and
they are, first of all, they are so okay. The theme of what? Coexistence? Is that what you said?
Well, it's not just coexistence. It's the idea of religious perversion versus religious adherence. And that's That's something that, by the way, Hollywood generally doesn't have the balls to actually show that if you actually adhere to what the religion genuinely teaches, it could be a good thing.
But did this movie actually show that that was a good thing?
Well,
no, because at the end of I'm telling you, this was a setup. I hope they do a better job. I think I'll like the next movie better. This movie is a lot of setup, and it does it at a really slow pace. At a really slow pace,
they do a lot of world building in this.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say a lot. We meet 2 clans. I mean, we get to know 2 clans. At the
3.
kingdom, we see that there are many clans, but we essentially...
3. No, we get to know 3. It's just...
What's the third?
One only has one representative, and that's Raka.
Okay, that's true. That's true. The orangutan.
Yeah.
And they were more of your...
He's like a monk.
The faithful... Yeah, those kind of... The religious faithful. Right. And then you've got the Proximus... kingdom who's basically annexing all these other clans to make
he's the religious perversion, and then you have the Eagle clan, which are the religious agnostics. Basically, they didn't know.
They felt like the old school Native Americans, too.
Right? But they just didn't know. Like they didn't really have any supernatural or belief in Caesar or understanding.
And they acknowledged the fact that that was a decision made by that clan, by those clans' elders. They did that on purpose. They didn't want them knowing all that. They didn't want them. Correct me if I'm wrong, because I did just see the movie yesterday. But
it's hinted at. I don't think that it's. It's
there's a line. There's a line from Noah where he says like they didn't want us knowing when he's learning about Caesar. He's like that
they
man
never
said
told
that
us
name.
about him. Yeah, and but the thing is, he doesn't really know if the elders knew about Caesar or not.
So he, you know what? You're right. That's not made clear. He just kind of assumes that. Okay.
What he does know is that from Raka's story, he learns about Caesar was this great, ape from the past that was a Masonic character that was trying to teach and preach the idea of humanity and apes coexisting, and then. For whatever reason, Proximus Caesar was using the words of Caesar to try and make everybody obey him.
Well, that and fear. I'm trying to see what this movie's currently sitting at on Criticlist, because
I know it's closer to my score than what yours will no doubt be.
Is it?
Last I looked, it was in the mid 70s, I think. And I gave it an 80.
You gave it an 80. Okay, so right now the overall audience score is at 70%. 2 voters and my friends with benefits averages 80. So you and Blaine, Blaine gave it a 79. You gave it an 80.
Okay.
So
So Blaine's right there with me.
I mean, I'm not going to completely shit on this movie. It's still probably going to be in the. Let's see if I give this off the top of my it's going to fall under decent for me. So I'm not completely crapping on this movie, but I didn't enjoy it nearly as much as I enjoy. I think this is a far inferior movie to the all. I like this. This is my least of the 4 movies, but it's still better than watching paint dry. It's still over a 5 out of 10 or whatever.
And for me, this is the best of the films, narrowly beating out the first.
The first one's still my favorite. I like how they make you feel like you side with Caesar by the end. You're almost like, I don't know. I really like the journey.
Well, I think you side with Noah by the end. Actually, you side with Noah pretty much through the whole thing in this one.
But it's completely different. I mean, it's not apes versus human kind of thing in like being and finding yourself on the side of the apes because the humans are assholes. This is basically showing you that, well, left to their own devices, apes can be assholes too, even to other apes. And this is more about ape versus other ape clan kind of thing.
Right. So the wife needs me downstairs for just a minute. So give me a minute. I'll be right back.
All right. Well, I tell you what I'm going to do, folks. we're a little over the halfway point anyway. So let's take a moment to watch this video from the show's sponsor. Please enjoy.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification directives we have created for the first time in all history. A garden of pure ideology where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of being contradictory thoughts. Our unification of the thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people. One will, one resolve, one cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
Nearly 40 years ago, we were promised a brighter future, something vastly different from Orwell's 1984. Sadly, what we have been left with is a near carbon copy of the novel's warnings. We are at a precipice. Do we continue to endure the propaganda, to be told how and what to think, or do we strive for something better? Join us and see why 2023 doesn't have to be like 1984.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information.
We'll get better at these transitions as time rolls on. In fact, I think we are actually working on video transitions. It's hard. I've got a full-time job now, and I'm juggling some clients as well. Actually, I have 2 websites I have to launch this Friday. So I have 2 days. One of them is like 90% done. The other one's only like halfway done. So I got a lot of work to do. So let's check the chat. So for those of okay, somebody was like, "What's this?" So Criticless, that was an ad that they gave us. We're hoping to get some more, and we're actually working on another one of our own. But Criticless is basically, just that. It's where normal people can leave movie reviews. So it's critic-less. It's also set up kind of like a social media platform, which I like a lot. You can go to criticless.com to sign up for an account and use the website. Or if you're in the States and you want it on your phone, you can go to the Google Play Store, download it there, or to the Apple Store or whatever they call it on Apple. I don't use one of those abominations. I think it's the iTunes or Apple, whatever it is. Download it there. Sign up for an account. You'll immediately have a friend. That guy's name is Blaine. Super cool dude, founder and the president, I believe, of Criticless. And we have a group, NERDFIGHTS. You can add me and Salty as one of your friends. You can follow our reviews there, and you can join our NERDFIGHTS group, which really isn't getting used a lot yet. I want to get some folks in there and start using it. Try to get Salty on there a little bit more. Right now, I'm sitting at 69 reviews. This will be my 70th review. I'm almost done writing it up, and I do want to get that posted tonight after the show, and I'll share this video in there over at Criticless. But it's got a lot of cool features. You can review your favorite movies and TV shows, or your not so favorite movies and TV shows. It's got a real 80s retro kind of vibe to it and theme, and they divvy up the movie rankings into categories of I believe you've got you've got heinous, bogus, decent, what's after decent, rad, and then most excellent. So that's how they categorize their movies. And it's overall, so it's kind of the anti Rotten Tomatoes. So you can get a feel for what your friends and people you follow on because all kinds of people are on there. The Salty Nerd guys are on there. You can check out each of them individually and see what their thoughts on movies are, what our thoughts on movies are. The Criticless gang, and many, many others. I know the Film Threat guys are on there. My pal Al, I've been following him. He's dropping a bunch of his reviews onto Criticless. So go over to criticless.com, check it out. I know the Popcast guys are over there as well. So you just get an overall what I feel is a more accurate score for movies. And with that, I'd like to welcome back Salty. Hey, do you have anything you want to add about Criticless before we move back to our final thoughts on the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Well, you should be on Criticless because critics suck, even though Danny tries his best to sound like one when he writes a review.
I do not. I cuss and I use very snarky jokes. My reviews read like roasts if I don't like the movie. Now, if I like the movie, it might sound more like what you're talking about, but
the ostentatious nature of the film just feels
I don't talk
a bit
like that.
subpar to me.
That is not at all what my reviews sound like.
It's absolutely.
Hold up. Here, just if you go to my Criticless right now, the last movie I got on there, Star Trek 2009. I'm going to read it. Everybody can see this. This dumpster fire is a misguided attempt at reviving a beloved franchise that ultimately falls flat on its warp nacelles. Oh yeah, that's ostentatious.
Yeah, it sounds like you're trying to use words that you wouldn't. That's not how you talk.
I call shit dumpster fires all the time. What are you talking about?
Yes, but every other thing you say in that sentence is not something you would say.
Okay. Let's go
to it falls flat on its warp nacelles.
Okay. We'll go to the next one, which just happens to be Star Trek Nemesis. Star Trek Nemesis is a cinematic misfire that left fans of Star Trek TNG feeling more like they were in a shuttlecraft spiraling out of control than aboard the USS
Yeah,
Enterprise.
it sounds like you're trying to sound like a critic.
Really?
Yes, it does.
Nah.
That sounds like something Roger Ebert would have written.
No. Maybe. Okay. Well, I use a lot of metaphors. So, like Star Trek Insurrection warps onto the screen like a shuttlecraft running low on
it
dilithium.
warps onto the screen. When have you ever said this movie warps onto the screen?
Okay, I write a little bit, maybe a little. I still use. Okay, fair enough. Maybe I'm pandering a little bit too much to the.
You're trying to sound like a critic, and remember, criticless because critics suck.
Yeah.
And hey, Arabic, how do you do?
Okay, maybe this one's a little bit better. Ghostbusters Afterlife isn't just a direct sequel to Ghostbusters 2, completely ignoring the forgettable 2016 reboot, Ghostbusters Answer the Call. It's also a heartfelt love letter to both Harold Ramis and the Ghostbusters legacy. That sounds like me, right? That sounds
No,
right?
that doesn't sound like you.
Wow.
None of your reviews sound like you.
Really?
Right.
Because now you're going to have me questioning my review I'm working on now. Maybe I should have you copy edit
this effing sucks. I hated this effing piece of crap.
I don't want to, blatantly, because I've thought about that. I try not to use the F. I don't think I've used the F word in any of my reviews, actually.
Right, but you could say F, E-F-F.
Okay, well, hey guys, check out my reviews and judge for yourself. How about that? Let me know what you think in the comments after you read a few. And anyways, back to our final thoughts on Kingdom of Planet of the Apes. And
we're doing final thoughts now?
I was just trying to tighten it up. We don't have to.
That's fine.
Yeah.
We've been talking about it for freaking over an hour and a half.
No, we're only an hour and 20 minutes in. We were a little late.
Okay, since I started it, then you get to be the first to give your final thoughts.
My final thought is, if you're looking for like a summer fun movie and you don't really care about how or why shit happens, and you want to be just visually stunned and enjoy an afternoon, I would say go check out The Matinee. If you got teenage kids, take them and see what they think. Most of the kids oh my God. Do you know Mexican Iron Man or know of him?
Yeah, I know Mexican Iron Man.
So he took his kid and let his kid talk in his review of it, and his kid totally trashed the movie. It was hilarious. It was adorable. So anyway, I'm not going to say don't see it because Hollywood could use the money. Just don't buy concessions because my Coke was the same price. My Diet Coke was the same price as my movie ticket. So just
Hollywood doesn't get any of the money from the Coke. That goes to the theater.
Yeah, I know. So just go see the movie.
So don't support your local theaters, but support Hollywood is what you're saying.
Well, I'm just saying, man, like, come on. They got to come down on the price of a soda. That's it. I got a medium, too. That was ridiculous.
Yeah, I know they're overpriced.
They don't make it more than the movie ticket. Or it was actually literally, I paid $8.75 because I saw it in XD on Tuesday. So if I'd have saw it in a regular screen, it would only been $5. But normally XD is like almost $15. But still, my soda was the same price, $8.75 for a medium soda. I couldn't believe it. I was like, good Lord, that's what I paid for my movie ticket. But I'm not saying don't see it. I'm just saying don't expect it. If you like the first three movies, this movie will probably disappoint you, but you probably won't be mad leaving like I was when I saw Dune 2. If you haven't seen the first three movies and you like this kind of stuff, check it out. It is visually stunning. There's a lot of adventure action set pieces. And I think you'll leave overall, the average moviegoer will probably enjoy this movie. And I'm probably going to give this around a 55 to 60 on Criticlist. So I'm not trashing the movie. That's still decent in the decent category, which if this were Rotten Tomatoes, it would still be fresh.
No, so yeah, it has to be over 60 to be fresh.
Okay, well, it might be. I might go 60. Like I said, 55 to 60 is where I'm leaning toward right now. So that's my final thoughts on it.
So, Danny, you ignorant slut.
Slut? What?
You do not know anything about classic Saturday Night Live?
I thought you were about to say slob, which I would have gone with, but slut? Okay.
You don't know anything about classic Saturday Night Live, obviously.
I guess that one went over my head. Who was that?
They used to do a segment on their news back in the early days of Saturday Night Live called Point Counterpoint, where two people would argue, and the first person would give all their arguments, and then Chevy Chase's response would be, Jane, you ignorant slut.
Okay.
So, anyway, Danny, you ignorant slut. The biggest problem with your review is that every negative point that you make about the film is pretty much wrong. And the overwhelming response from other people that have seen the movie is that you are wrong.
And that happens from time to time, more often than not, actually.
Yeah, more often than not, because you obviously
I'm a weird guy, man. Sometimes sometimes my finger's on the pulse, sometimes my thumb is, which means I'm getting my own pulse. So, I don't know. Sorry.
So I think that this, to say, oh, well, if you like the first three, then you'll be disappointed. Not necessarily. I was not only not disappointed, I was pleasantly surprised that the franchise ticked up a notch instead of going down yet another notch after twice going down a notch from the first film. So in time, will I still think it's the best of the franchise? Maybe not. Maybe it'll drop to second place behind the first one. But right now, maybe because it's the freshest story in my mind, I think. Oh, you're right. So, it was Dan Aykroyd, not Chevy Chase.
A little recency bias, maybe. I get what you're saying.
Right. But I would still say that I'm going to argue that it's a good movie because it's much deeper than you seem to think it is.
I didn't think it was deep at all. Yeah, that was weird. Right. Shallow. It's a little shallow.
And so, but you didn't see any of the religious metaphor. And the religious metaphor is the whole point of the film. The main character's name was Noah, for God's sake, and he saved him from a flood. And you didn't see any religious metaphor.
I never said I didn't see it. I just said it was, one, it's on the nose. Two, there was no depth.
Well, the flood part
we
was
get
on
no
the
backstory.
nose.
We don't get any backstory on the villain. None whatsoever. How did he rise to power? Why? Okay, you said his motivation is to get
How
the
did
MacGuffin.
Darth Vader
okay, why
rise
does
to
he want to get the
power
MacGuffin?
when you saw Star Wars?
But they didn't kill Darth Vader in the first movie.
So
that
how
makes
did
a huge
Hans
difference.
Gruber? How did Hans Gruber become a super corporate thief?
Well, we got a lot more of Hans Gruber in Die Hard than we did Proxima.
No, we didn't. We didn't get jack
did.
We did not learn anything about how Hans Gruber became the great thief that he was.
Hey, look, you know what? If we were judging this, if this were a fight and I went the distance and we were doing it on scorecards, you know what? I admit, you win. You can win this fight. You can win this fight. Not changing my mind, but you win the fight.
Right,
That's fine.
because you're stupid.
You know what? I killed a lot of brain cells, and those don't grow back. It's not like my liver. My liver's getting better. It's regenerating.
I have literal brain damage, and I'm smarter than you.
Well, you're older than me, so there's that too.
That's true. I do have that wisdom card, and then I can
yeah.
All right, so
even like it's got a lot of good reviews out there. So I'm definitely on the losing end of this argument, which is fine. It's just my opinion. I know you hate when I say that, but that's just,
Yeah, you need to stop saying that because, of course, it's your opinion. Everything anybody ever says is their opinion. And don't say, except when I'm dropping facts, because that's still your opinion as to what the facts are.
Well, hey, thanks.
And by the way, so speaking of stupid, let's talk about good.
Well, thank you to our sponsor, Critic List, for sponsoring this show and the review. Thank you for everyone for watching our Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes review. Future viewers, I will timestamp right now. So if you want to skip ahead to...
Well, you say 130 because of 129, 58, 59, 130.
So we'll timestamp this so people who want to go straight ahead to part 2. This is part 2. We're finishing up our review of Star Trek Into Darkness.
So Khan, when last we were talking, Khan had just dropped the mega bombshell that he was Khan.
I'm Khan.
Yeah, and Kirk didn't say who, which why they didn't, I don't even understand, because given that JJ was going for MCU type of humor in this, I don't understand why they didn't have him say who.
They should have had him say who. 2, supposedly, as we argued in part 1 of this movie was made by an admitted Star Wars fan who didn't know anything about Star Trek and wanted to bring Star Trek to a mainstream audience. And he talked about Star Wars almost as much, if not more, in all of his interviews leading up to this movie. Right. Its predecessor and this one. Yet, if that's the case, then why not have a gag like the one you're talking about? It would have made perfect sense. It's just like that. That was solely for the Star Trek nerds who probably don't even like the fucking movie anyway. Excuse my language. Sorry. Who probably don't even like the movie anyway. So,
and look, Geordie LaForge is sitting at a table right next to Scotty.
Now that's racist.
What? I'm talking about his glasses, dude.
Oh, I thought you were like, because he's the only brother in the scene. My bad.
Look at his freaking glasses.
Those don't look like a visor. They just look like what people think futuristic glasses look like in the 90s. You know what I mean?
This wasn't made in the 90s. This is the sequel to the movie that came out in 2009.
Man, with this pause, you're right. He really does look like a lettuce head.
Scotty's boyfriend.
Yeah. It really does look like they just took a head of lettuce and put it like, hey, that'll make a good alien.
Yeah, so I think Scotty has a thing for lettuce.
Oh my God, creep. I guess you weren't here last week when we shat all over the first half of this movie. Not big fans.
Yeah, as you can see,
that face right there, that's the face I'm like.
That's Captain Kirk sitting on the captain's throne, leaving the captain's log. So he calls up Scotty and asks him to check out super secret coordinates that Khan gave him. And
super chat.
And thank you so much to Joe Biden says, wait, that's Ricardo Taliban? Hail Kuroga, number 22. I hate you so much, Mr. President, for bringing that up. Do you even know about that, the inside joke there?
I don't.
During Star Trek Day a couple of years ago, they actually had these two bimbos hosting Star Trek Day for their webcast. And there was this display case of Star Trek props. And one of them actually said, oh, look, here's the tunic or whatever worn by Ricardo Taliban from Star Trek 2.
Oh, my God. Were they trying to be funny or were they just...
No, they were stupid.
That was... Okay. Oh, my God. Because I was going to say it's a stupid joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, and an annoying critic. I find you and I kind of agree a lot. But, yeah. But I think you even think this was a bad movie. So...
Yeah, and there's Scotty's opinion of this movie. So Scotty decides that he's going to go investigate what's at the coordinates, but he doesn't take his lettuce head love with him.
Well, that would have messed up the whole part where he sneaks onto the ship so he can save the day.
Yeah, but I mean, shouldn't lettuce head have been with him, really?
Yeah. Sure.
And... oh, man, look at this shot. Right there. Doesn't Carl Urban look like DeForest Kelly right there?
Well, he's definitely channeling him, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but...
is this the scene where he's making all the metaphors and Kirk has to tell him to stop, or did we already do that scene?
I don't... let's see, is this...
Very uncomfortable. Perhaps you too should learn to govern your emotions, Doctor. In this situation, logic dictates.
Logic! My God!
Maniac trying to make us blow our own damn shit.
I love it. You pause it. He reminds me of DeForest. Logic! My God, man!
Yeah. And right there, this is the no more metaphors. That's an order. That was a good moment. This is, I will say this. These three, they did have chemistry, even if it's the wrong chemistry.
Yeah.
And your dogs are going crazy or whatever, but...
well, I only have one. I had to put my
right.
Dexter down, sadly. Thanks for bringing that up. Let me go see what this guy's barking at. You can continue. Please continue. I'll be right back.
All right. So, and Spock has... boy, there's a smug look from Spock right there. That looks like Spock with like a Snapchat filter on. I don't even know what's going on there. So Spock tells Kirk about Carol Marcus. Carol Marcus says, hey, let's check out the torpedo. But first, let me get on the shuttlecraft and take off all my clothes because, this. And this shot, which I know is very popular among the young men, because, she's got a very toned physique. However, this shot is completely 100% gratuitous. And it's quite frankly, I don't understand why the actress was willing to do it. I know that she later said she regretted it. But I'm surprised that Chris Pine was okay with this. I'm frankly surprised that the producers of this movie were okay with this. This is pure 100% objectification.
Oh my! I came back at just the right time. Look at that.
I rest my case.
Well, oh. I didn't hear a thing. What'd you say? What'd you say?
I was talking.
What point did I just prove for you?
I was talking about how horrible this shot was because it's completely 100% gratuitous. And
my man, us Dan's got to stick together. Best scene in the movie. She really did ruin her career by talking shit about this scene, though. I will say that.
But I'm surprised
that's it.
But the thing is, I'm surprised that, like I was trying to say, I'm surprised she was willing to do it. I'm surprised Chris Pine was willing to do it. I'm surprised J.J. Abrams was willing to do it. I'm surprised the producers were willing to sign off on this.
I'm not surprised by any of those things.
But it adds nothing. That's the problem. It would be one thing if there was a reason for her to be changing her clothes right now.
The reason is they want you to think that J.J. Abrams wants you to think that Kirk is a pig, and she asked him not to look. And of course, being a male pig, he turned around and he looked. I think that's effed up. I'm agreeing with you. But I do appreciate the woman.
But it doesn't service the story.
It doesn't at all.
You could make the argument that Kirk with the two cat ladies at the beginning establishes that Kirk's a horn dog. I don't like the bastardization of Kirk.
Right. This is just them doubling down on it, and I'm agreeing with you, but she's hot, so until she opens her mouth, and then there's that. So that seems to be the thing with most women nowadays. Am I right?
Are you trying to get this channel shut down? Is that your goal right now?
These are jokes, people.
Learn
how to take them. It's not a dick.
The algorithm doesn't understand humor.
And that's why AI is inferior.
And neither do liberals. And so even if there was no algorithm, we would still get canceled.
You know what? I think it's you know what? God bless you for saying that liberals are retarded, because somebody needed
I did
to
not say that.
No, that's what you said. That's what you said. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Okay, yeah, that's on my list. I didn't mean to say that word. I apologize. The R word.
And I shouldn't just say liberals. It's leftists specifically.
Now he's totally backpedaling now. That's fine.
I am somewhat, because I shouldn't have said liberals. I should have said leftists, because there are liberals that do have a sense of humor.
Does this help our algorithm any if people zoom in on our videos? I'm just curious.
No, he's just saying that because she's on screen. So McCoy and so we didn't see McCoy and his skivvies when changing into their outfits to beam down. Where's the equal time?
Hey man, typical sexist Hollywood. In that Roddenberry movie we watched, plenty of full frontal female nudity, not a single frontal male nudity shot.
Yeah, and so for the record, Danny really wanted to see some frontal male nudity. He wanted to see Rock Hudson in the buff.
I wanted to see Rock Hudson's rock. I wanted to see him rock hard. Rock hard Hudson.
Well,
I'm just going with the joke. It's all good. Anyway. Mm-hmm. This is where he's talking to us about the Gorn. I'm having deja vu. I think we got a little bit of overlap from last week, but that's fine.
No, I checked. Last week we ended with the scene of Khan in the room.
Oh, okay.
So they open up the torpedo, and lo and behold, inside of it is a frozen.
There'll be a frozen popsicle man. Captain.
I don't think that's quite how they put it, but okay.
Here's Scotty.
Meanwhile, orbiting Jupiter, Scotty goes along, and I swear, when I first saw this, I thought this was a Borg ship.
It looks more like V'ger. I feel like whatever that big gigantic instrument they made for that movie.
But it was roughly cubical.
Yeah.
Okay. But they go inside, and of course, they're working on the USS Vengeance in there. Then back on sick bay, they're looking at the cryotube.
I like the throwback to the outfit here, the McCoy.
Yeah,
outfit.
That looks like classic McCoy right there.
Yeah.
And so, Khan explains the whole thing with the...
I think he's had some work done. His face looks so weird in this movie to me. It's jarring.
Now, Benedict just has a weird shaped face. I watched an old movie with him.
Do you think he just grew into it? I know this movie's older. It's like 11, 12 years old.
I've seen a few movies with him, and he's just always kind of had this weird praying mantis-looking head.
Yeah, it's just weird.
And he's even the first person to make fun of it. Oh, there's the Khan.
So this is where we left off. Okay.
Why would a Starfleet admiral ask a 300-year-old frozen man?
See, and Kirk obviously doesn't know who Khan is. So why didn't Kirk say, well, what is that supposed to mean?
Is that supposed to impress me? That would have
Right.
been a good line.
Right.
That would have been a good line. Cat, stop. What? I love you too. I just don't want your hair all over me, buddy. Go on.
And all of a sudden, now that he's revealed that he's Khan, he's got to be snarling. You know, I don't understand.
No, he
that.
looks like, what did I say? Not Shere Khan. He looks like Scar from The Lion King right there. He really does. He's got that big snout.
So then all of a sudden the Vengeance warps in, and Kirk had Khan moved to, I don't remember, was it medical, I think?
Medical. Mom's trying to get even with me for the hundreds of times I've said that in my childhood to her. So that's fine. Whatever.
And so Kirk gets on the horn with Admiral Marcus, talking about, oh, hey, thanks so much for coming out here to help me repair my ship. And he's like, oh, what are you talking about? And he's like, well, isn't that why the chief of Starfleet came out here? Right? You're here to help, right? And
and he opened this up ship-wide, by the way. This conversation.
The conversation was broadcast to everybody for the record, so that everybody on the crew could hear that they're about to die. A real great way to boost morale there, Kirk.
Yeah.
So then Kirk is like trying to figure out what to do, and he's like, hey, checkout, can we go to warp? And he's like, sure. But it might break the engines, and so he orders them to go to warp.
This looks more like hyperspace in Star Wars than warp speed in Star Trek to me, but whatever.
Although keep in mind that this did come out before the new Star Wars films.
Yeah, but it was made by JJ. This was
right. But if you look at this, the hyperspace from the previous Star Wars films, the lighting was different. And the lighting in the new Star Wars films is more like this, actually, which is kind of fun.
Well, this was all of this was a test run for JJ,
right.
Really.
So then we do get about 10 seconds of really cool action. First time we actually in the Kelvin timeline see weapons used at warp, and since they use this hyperspace warp effect, it was kind of cool, actually. I think, keeping in mind that in Star Wars you can't use weapons while in hyperspace. So hey, one up for Star Trek. And people get sucked out of the ship because holes in the ship. And the Enterprise ends up dropping out of warp midway between the Earth and the Moon.
She's like, I'm the only one who can save us.
Right, because she's his
she never
daughter.
thought in a million years, oh, he'll just transport me off the ship.
Right. Well, maybe if they had the shields working, that might have helped. But well, actually, no, the shields were up because he didn't.
Maybe he used the prefix code. I don't know, but they
or
beam
maybe
her off.
Maybe he did knock the shields down during the attack. I don't know, because he didn't know where Khan was.
Yeah.
And anyway, so then he beams her onto the Vengeance.
Did we intercept the transport signal?
No, sir.
And for some reason, this particular beaming takes like 30 seconds when usually it takes 5.
Unless you're Spock's mom, then it just doesn't work at all.
Right. Well, that one also took a long time. Mm-hmm. It's like the transporters have a very interesting sense of drama. And why is it that she's able to run and have the transporter signal follow her, but Spock's mom moves and she falls to her death?
It also looks like she's falling through the floor a little bit here, doesn't it?
Let's see.
As a transporter.
Captain Kirk.
No, she was going up the steps.
She's going up steps. Okay.
Yeah.
And Uhura's like, "Ew, bitch, get away."
Yeah. And so then Kirk pleads for the life of his crew, and he's like, I was never going to spare your crew, you dumbass. And so...
He's got these great weapons, but they take 1,000,000 years to charge.
Right. And Kirk has a sudden attack of explosive diarrhea right here. Not sure why. And so Scotty reboots their weapons, so it's going to take him 2 minutes to reset their weapons. And so Kirk is going to enlist the help of Khan. And Spock gives some of the most unconvincing dialogue in Star Trek history about how he's going to form an alliance with Khan. No, he's not forming an alliance. He's just saying, hey, it's not like he's reviving all the Supermen.
I do like Spock's comeback, though, to when Kirk says the
enemy of my enemy is my friend. And he says, a curious statement, or a proverb attributed to an Arab prince who was later killed by his allies or something, yeah.
By his own people or something like that, yeah.
And so...
Dirt face.
Well, there's a lot of dirt face in this. Right there, that's like a... this should have been the thumbnail right there. That's that. You got to search better for your thumbnails, buddy.
That's his O face.
Anyway, so so Kirk then gets Khan's help, and they're going to space jump from the Enterprise to the Vengeance. And Kirk even makes the joke that, don't worry, I've done this before, but bump, because they did it in the last movie.
Yeah.
And so now they're playing greatest hits. And so Khan and Kirk space jump towards the Vengeance. Meanwhile, Spock contacts Spock, and you get some of the... I'm so sad that this is Leonard Nimoy's last appearance as Spock, because...
The last one was better.
Yeah, and as he says, well, as you know, I've taken a vow to never divulge any information that might compromise the future.
First of all, how could it compromise the future when this is an alternate timeline? It's not going to change shit.
Right.
It's already changed, Spock.
Right.
You should be telling him everything.
Right. Well, not only that, but the last movie, he was so sanctimonious as to sit there and say, well, I could have, probably saved thousands of lives, but it was more important to me that you and Spock became buddies. I mean, that's what his whole motive boils down to. But in this movie, he's like, well, I took a solemn oath to never divulge any information. So now I'm going to break that oath with no further consideration. Yeah. And so he tells him about Khan, and it's the only time Khan's full name is ever used, Khan Noonien Singh. And meanwhile, Khan and Kirk and Scotty are fighting their way through the Vengeance, trying to get to the bridge, and they're taking manual corridors instead of the turbo lift so they can't be trapped in the elevator. And plus, they're staying near the engine so the other guys can't fire their weapons. Because Khan knows the layout of the ship. And then as soon as they get to the bridge, he has Scotty shoot Khan. And, did he really think that a phaser set to stun was going to take Khan out of the fight? I mean,
it wasn't Scotty. That wasn't Scotty that shot him.
Yeah, it was.
Was it? I think it was.
Yeah, as soon as they got control of the bridge, he nodded at Scotty, and Scotty shot Khan.
Okay.
And Khan dropped. So Khan is obviously faking it because we see him take several phaser shots later and not even flinch.
Yeah.
But hey, whatever. And then Khan decides to, he knocks out Scotty, throws Kirk across the room, crunches Carol Marcus's leg in a brutal, you don't see it, but oh man, that just hurt when he stomped on her leg.
You hear it crack like a twig in the woods, man.
Yeah. And then he crushes Admiral Marcus's head, and because
Pops his head like a pimple.
yeah, he I guess he does.
It's pretty bad. Not that they show it. They should have had blood splatter though. Chunks of brain falling off his cheek.
And Scotty may not know how OP he is, but Kirk does. And Kirk's the one that tells Scotty to stun him.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, honestly, he probably would have taken a phaser set to kill to stun him. At least this version of Khan. Where the Khan from...
So do they have 3 settings? Stun, kill, and evaporate? I mean...
No, in this...
Because vaporize would take care of him, for sure.
In this version of Trek, the phasers only have 2 settings, stun and kill. And so then we actually have one of the few good scenes with Khan, where Spock and Khan kind of play a little bit of intellectual chess as far as, what to do here. And so Khan's like, well, let's play this out, and so, he says, after I kill the hostages, if your resolve holds, then I will do this, and you'll do that, and you'll do this, and they go back and forth. And so Spock agrees to surrender the torpedoes to Khan. And then Khan beams Kirk back in exchange for Khan letting the Enterprise go. Khan beams Kirk and Carol Marcus back over to the Enterprise and says no ship should go down without her captain because he's going to, betray them, obviously, and blow up the Enterprise anyway. And so, but then what Khan didn't know was that Spock armed the torpedoes and big kaboom on board the Vengeance. But the Enterprise also takes massive damage, and so the Enterprise is going to crash. Oh no. And then it's like, this is not how gravity works. FYI, the Enterprise will be in free fall. So if the artificial gravity was failing for some reason, then at best, people would be floating around. So this nonsense would not be happening. And yes, Alex, that is Harold from Harold and Kumar.
Yeah, I'd have never put that together. Wow, thanks, man.
Yeah. Could Khan Taliban take a stun shot? We don't ever see him get hit with a phaser. But considering Kirk is able to knock him out with a lead pipe, I would say probably he would be knocked out by a stun shot. Because the stun setting, it works on your nervous system. And Khan's nervous system is the same as anybody else's. Khan's just physically stronger and mentally smarter than a normal person. But it's not like stun doesn't work on somebody who's big,
Right.
And in fact, at the beginning of this very movie, Kirk stuns a giant dinosaur monster that they were going to ride away from the weird alien people. So, yeah. Suck on that. Anyway, so they run around the beer garden, and Spock orders everybody to abandon ship because the Enterprise is going down like a rock. And the main energizers are offline. Gee, this is sounding really familiar.
I wonder why.
Yeah, Kirk
They
climbs,
just straight up lift lines out of the Wrath of Khan.
Right, so Kirk climbs in instead of Spock and starts messing around trying to get the power back on. and of course, and what the heck is this warp core? So you're telling me that in the Kelvin timeline, the warp core is 2 giant spark plugs.
You know why I'm having deja vu? Because of the watch along. Guys, you need to go to supportsalty.com. My A game is on for the watch along.
I'm trying to remember if I posted this one yet. I'll have to double check. I think I did, but I'm not 100% sure. I might not have yet. But yeah, so their entire warp core is 2 gigantic spark plugs. Or you probably liked it.
No. Remember, and it doesn't make sense. I remember us talking about this. The way he kicks it would not have kicked it into place.
Right, because he's kicking it down.
He's kicking it down, not over. You know.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Meanwhile, the Enterprise is going to crash, but thanks to Kirk's kicking it down over and by the way, that's the warp core that he just got online, but thanks to him kicking it, they now have impulse engines.
And thrusters, yeah.
You know. So JJ does, dude, no research on this? I mean, Orsi and Kurtzman, guys, anybody?
Right.
Granted, I know it's a different timeline, so the ships could work technically differently, but, then you should say so. And then Kirk dies, and Spock yells Khan in a way that you were talking about was so much better than the original.
What? I never said that.
Yeah, you said that you liked Spock's yell way more than
I never said that. He's doing that thing, guys. I never said that. Chris Pine did a good job here, but I don't buy this shit for a second. They're not this close. These 2 characters have not gotten this close. If anything, I mean, Jesus, they start this movie out with Kirk pissed off at Spock for throwing him under the bus, as he puts it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is not earned. None of this is earned. You're gonna get this copyright.
Yes, I know, but everybody wants to hear this, right? I mean, because it's you were saying this is one of the most dramatic renderings of a person's name in the history of film.
I never said that. Those words never came out of my mouth. It's terrible. It's terrible.
Oh goodness, that's just so.
That is a terrible pause. I can't. that. There we go. I'll pause it there. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, you can't. You can't. Okay.
Oh goodness, so good. And so then the Vengeance, which was on dramatic timing itself, was waiting for the Spock to yell before speeding past the Enterprise. Yes, I know. T'Pring heard Spock yelling Khan, and so she had to come and rescue me. So then, for whatever reason, Khan decides to crash the starship into Starfleet headquarters, but the ship doesn't quite have enough gas to get there. So instead, it squashes Alcatraz Island. And then the saucer section takes out a huge chunk of downtown San Francisco, killing tens of thousands of people. I mean, look
easily.
Look at the size of that saucer. That is ridiculous. How big is this ship supposed to be? My goodness. What's Alex talking about here? Did JJ already sign with Disney before he finished this? I don't remember if he signed with Disney.
I don't know, but the first movie was definitely a Star Wars audition. The second one was probably, hey, I could use some money,
Yeah. But at least he did back-to-back Star Trek films, unlike Star Wars.
Yeah, I guess.
So,
Because that would have made the Star Wars so much better.
I think it would have.
Okay.
I know. Look, this movie may suck balls in comparison to, say, the TOS films, but it's way better than The Last Jedi. So, it's not like First Contact bad. Or, any of the TNG films, really.
Okay.
And so then Khan, of course, survives because, of course, he does. He's just freaking Superman at this point.
Yeah.
Except he's Superman that can't fly. And so then Khan and Spock go on a foot chase through San Francisco. Then while they're all sitting there depressed over Kirk's death, all of a sudden the Tribble that he injected with Khan's blood, the dead Tribble, he just happened to have a dead Tribble lying around, and he wanted to inject it with some of Khan's blood to see what would happen. Because that's how science works. You just say,
Yeah.
hey, I wonder what would happen if, we shot some blood into a dead thing.
Mm-hmm. I wonder.
That's the scientific method, right?
Yeah. Sure.
And so the Tribble map miraculously comes back to life. And so McCoy immediately says we need to get one of the other 72 Supermen that we have and get some blood from them so that, he says we've got to get Khan back alive because that's the only way to save Kirk. Because all of a sudden McCoy's brain just shut off. Which I still don't understand that at all. They could have had one line of dialogue to explain why Khan's blood was somehow different than the other 72.
The whole blood thing pisses me off. We said this in the watch along.
Right,
It's like,
right.
yeah, why not one of the other guys? I don't want to,
No. Or why not have, and actually what I was suggesting
girls.
to the watch along is instead of having Kirk die in the radiation chamber, you have Pike die in the radiation chamber and you leave him dead.
That would have been good, and that's when Kirk becomes captain.
Right. So through this whole movie, Kirk would have been...
Or we argued that he would have kept his captain rank. He just would have been first officer with rank of captain. That's when he would have got the Enterprise back, basically.
Right. And
That would have been
Spock
much
could-
better, yeah.
Yeah. And Spock could have been the science officer. Pike could have been the captain instead of putting Spock on another random ship. And because it's not normal to have your first officer be your science officer as well. So it would make sense if Kirk's penance, because Pike did some great talking, was like, okay, you're going to be my first officer. Spock is just going to stay as science officer. And that would have made a lot more sense. And then that could have been a really good death for Captain Pike. And it would have had some teeth because Pike would have stayed dead.
Yeah.
And so, because Bruce Greenwood wasn't coming back.
Yeah, it's like, why... I hate when... we'll talk about X-Men tomorrow, but so far, I seem to be right about Gambit staying dead. I don't like it when they do this. When they bring people back, especially this fast. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, his death. I'm supposed to give a shit, and 2 minutes later, you're bringing him back to life.
Did Gambit stay dead in the comics?
Oh, let's not. We're getting derailed. Let's not get derailed. We're already over the 2-hour mark. Mom's already said goodnight. Sorry, Mother.
So Spock and Khan are fight while on Coruscant now. They went from San Francisco to Coruscant, apparently.
Yeah, right.
Because now all of a sudden there's spaceships flying everywhere. And
JJ's like, see Star Wars, I can do this. I want you to see here. You know, I crammed it into Star Trek just so you could see.
And yeah, so then then Uhura shows up and bails out Spock by shooting Khan.
Like 100 times.
Yeah, and so yeah.
And then that doesn't even work. Spock has to hit him in the back of the head.
And so I did think it was kind of cool that we kind of got to see, Vulcan unleash for the first time, really. But other than that, yeah, it was just stupid fight. And then Kirk wakes up, and McCoy makes a typical McCoy-like snarky remark about asking Kirk if he's feeling any homicidal tendencies, because, he's been injected with Khan's super blood. And, then we see that Khan's been put back in his ice cube tray, and they'll just keep them in cold storage now for all eternity.
Yeah.
Because that's the humane thing to do.
Right, yeah.
And so then Kirk gives a speech after the Enterprise has been repaired, and gives the captain's oath.
The captain's oath. Right. Come on.
And the captain's oath is space the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Enterprise. Its 5-year mission to explore. How is this the captain's oath?
How is that the captain's oath? Yeah.
Yeah. That makes no freaking sense at all. And so the Enterprise is all fixed. Kirk gets on the bridge. Everybody's happy. Carol Marcus is now officially a member of the family. And of course,
but we never see her again.
Yeah, but we will never ever see again. Apparently, she died sometime in between this and the next movie. And then the Enterprise warps off. The end.
Shit happens, man. I guess.
Based on Star Trek, created by Gene Roddenberry, and look, there's Gene Roddenberry's balls on screen. So, hey.
Dear God, man. You well that was Star Trek, folks. Yeah, Mom, it put me to sleep too. Thanks for hanging in there.
Yeah. Now, so let me ask you this, Mr. Dickless.
Okay.
So yes, it's true. This man has no dick. So how would you compare this movie to Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes?
Oh, this is a freaking masterpiece. No, I'm kidding. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes is a way better movie than this one.
Okay. I just want to make sure you at least had some sanity.
No, this is definitely going to get below a 50%. Definitely below 55. Like I said, I'm teetering between 55 and 60 on Apes. This one's... In fact, I think I already... No, I didn't post that one yet. But I do have my review saved in my Google Docs. Let me see what score I gave it.
And the best thing, of course, is that they saved the worst for last with Star Trek Beyond. Because much like the OG reboot Planet of the Apes trilogy, the Star Trek movies just kept getting worse and worse with the Kelvin time.
Again, we haven't done the watch along. We'll do that on Tuesday. I remember liking Beyond better. I mean, but I haven't seen it since it came out. But I remember liking it better.
It is an absolute crap storm.
Nah, it had Idris Elba in it. How can it be bad?
It had what in it?
Idris Elba.
So?
I know, I'm just kidding. Stan, I agree that Beyond is better.
No, Beyond is absolutely the worst of these films. And the thing about Beyond, and the worst thing about it, is how much many people loved it. And the reason I understand why people loved it. People loved it because they loved the scenes with Carl Urban and Zachary Quinto, because they felt like good McCoy Spock moments. However, you're forgetting about the overall context of the film. This is an anti-military film, and it's like this. That's 3 for 3, by the way, with these movies being anti-military.
Yeah. I found so you know, I haven't posted on Critic Lists yet, but my plan is to give it a 45. So I guess I was a little harsh. That's a bogus. That's not.
So you lied, which is no surprise with you.
No, well, it's hey, no, I didn't lie. I said I'm giving Apes a higher score. That's true. I just thought I thought I gave this one a 5, but I'll have to look into why I haven't posted it yet. But yeah, this between the 4 and a 5. I think, you know, I wrote.
Oh, you're saying you gave
here.
This movie a 45?
Yeah.
I
haven't posted it.
Kingdom.
No. Kingdom, I haven't posted yet. I haven't even finished writing it. Remember, I was sharing.
That's right.
My
You have
review
to
with
continue with your flowery language about, you know.
Well, now that you've given me this complex, I'm going to probably rewrite a bunch of stuff, like not use all these metaphors and stuff. You know,
the religious overtones were not observed by this reviewer.
No, I was going to try to make puns like I did with the nacelles and warp speed, and you're like, "That's not how you talk." That's
not.
Super chat.
So Anonymous says, Into Darkness script was just as good as any WWE event script. Well, that's true.
You're giving it way too much credit. WWE's way better. Come on now. Come on. Get out of here with that nonsense.
No. Into Darkness was definitely better than the WWE match. About as realistic with the action. You know, when you see Khan swinging around a frickin' phaser bank, you know, when he's shooting all the Klingon ships. But yeah, 4 out of 5 stars is what Danny's giving it. Yep, that's right.
About 4 no.
Yeah, you see, you just agreed.
Out of 10. Out of 10. I didn't let you finish talking.
4 out of 5.
No, about a 4.5 out of 10 is where I'm sitting.
4.5 out of 5.
Yeah, okay. Anyway, so what about you? You want to give your final thoughts?
Well, like I said, I think that like the original Planet of the Apes,
and we're done. No, I'm kidding. I didn't click it. I was just messing.
You are really a dick today. Yeah. So now now it's like his fingers on the button to end it.
Nah. I'll keep my hands up. There you go. Continue.
Yeah. So, well, but you're done with your analysis on it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think that like I said, the movies, the Kelvin Timeline movies, I liked Into Darkness originally when I saw it in theaters. However, I don't think it aged well. I think that these movies get worse over time, and I think that the first of the 3, 2009, is still the best of the 3. Then this one, and then Beyond is an absolute crap-tastic.
Well, we will talk